Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, grab a pew, chair, sofa, sit your butts down, chill out, and let's talk. First of all, we're going to talk about Shazam. Is it a flop or a success? I think you know where I am with this debate, and it's quite simple. Shazam is a massive hit for Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema. Shazam is a wonderful film. The critics have said so. If the critics have said so, it must be true. But with this, I think we can agree with the critics. It is a brilliant achievement. But this film cost from 90 to 100 million to make. It's now made around 250 million globally. That's fantastic. It's already, more than doubled what it's spent, right? 100 million, right, to 250 million. Wow, that's a great achievement. But people are calling it a flop. People are saying it's flopped in China. No, it hasn't made as much as Aquaman did in China, but it's made good money. It's been a solid return. Nobody knows who Shazam is. It's as simple as that. I'm hoping after this film that more people will get to know him. Maybe there'll be some cameos in other dceu movies as well to help him. But basically, he is the Ant-Man of this franchise. So, of course, Ant-Man didn't make great money. Didn't make blockbuster money. Did well for what they spent on it, but it didn't make great money. So, basically, what's not great money these days? Well, basically, it seems to you people, to you YouTubers out there, I mean big-time YouTubers who have to make a song and dance out of anything because you don't have the burst personality or the content to attract people to yourselves. So what you do is you create big drama that isn't really big drama, right? Shazam is nowhere near the kind of box office of Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Aquaman, and movies like this, right? It's not a high-profile superhero movie. Neither is Ant-Man. Neither Ant-Man movies made big money. They did okay, and they certainly made a tidy profit, as Shazam already has. So is Shazam a flop? Is Shazam a success? Shazam is a success because before this movie, nobody knew who Shazam was. Now, I've spoken about this before, this subject, but I've seen a few YouTube videos and I have to discuss it, I have to talk about the box office for Shazam because it's winding me up that people are calling this movie a failure. How can a film that's already brought in, in just, 10 days, 250 million after spending 90 million, after being Shazam? Shazam is not Superman. Shazam is not Batman. Shazam's not even Spider-Man. Shazam is a very unknown character. But yes, the release date is problematic, and I've spoken about this before. And for the life of me, I'll never understand why Warner Bros. Released it now, just a few weeks before Endgame. Were they hoping the hype for Endgame would get more interest for Shazam? I don't know. Someone suggested August. August would have been a pretty good month. I still don't think it would have got anywhere near $1 billion. Nowhere near. Maybe it would have done slightly better. I think the film is definitely looking towards more 500 than 400. But yes, it's solid box office. But look, Warner Brothers must be happy enough because they've already greenlit a sequel. So that tells you a lot. And they're even talking about making a couple of sequels back to back before the children get too old to be in the film. So that tells you they're happy with the returns. They weren't expecting big things from this film. But what I like about this film, and actually is this kind of, again, I've discussed this before, but I've got you people who are so negative kind of motivate me coming back with these videos, because is it a case now that maybe DC are making quality movies that won't make as much money? I don't know. Am I okay with that? Well, listen, I'm not a Warner Brothers shareholder. I don't care how much the company makes. My only kind of interest in the box office of DCEU movies is that the movies make enough to make more of them. And there's no question about that. Shazam is on a hefty profit because of a very low budget. It was on a very low budget because they knew they weren't going to get, the big record-breaking box office numbers for this film. That's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's done well. It's still the #1 movie. Okay, there's nothing really out there to compete with it right now. But at the end of the day, the Hellboy situation is interesting because if Hellboy was kind of fancied more by the critics, then I think Shazam would have had a bigger problem, a much bigger problem. So this is why I feel it was a bit of a shitty time to release it. And that really is my opinion on Shazam. Great money. Sorry, start again. Great movie, solid box office. Move on, enjoy the film, watch it again and again and again, because this is a modern day classic. It's just brilliant. It hits every spot, every emotional tone that Sandberg wanted to hit. He hit it. It really is a great movie, and it's a success story. And not every movie has to hit $1 billion to be successful. And that's all I'll say about that. Now we get back to the Snyder Cut, which is a very, very important issue for so many people. What does this mean for the future of Hollywood, I wonder? Some people think the Snyder Cut is just a bunch of nerds fighting for something they want. It's not. The Snyder Cut means a lot more than that. We live in interesting times, my friends. We live in times where children are abused, women are raped, men are raped. We live in times where nobody's like me can sit here talking to you lot on a computer screen. Not a very good computer screen at that. That sounds terrible, isn't it? But anyway, I should get a mic really, shouldn't I? I need to stop being stubborn. But anyway, we live in interesting times. We live in a time where a studio had an epic, awesome continuation of a franchise in a team-up. And they decided to sack said director and not release said movie. Kevin Sugihara thought he had an open and shut case. He didn't like what Zack Snyder gave him. And let's be honest, Zack Snyder did compromise. A few people said that about this never compromise thing. But Zack actually did, bless him. He did compromise. We now know from SnyderCon that Zack, gave Sugihara one script. Sugihara didn't like that script because it was too dark. And Zack and Chris Terrio had to go back and start again. And they did. So they were allowed to shoot that one. And they did. But Sugihara still wasn't happy. He decided to remove Zack Snyder and bring in Joss Whedon to give us MCU League rather than an epic, awesome, compelling Justice League movie. But the theatrical cut was a disgrace. It was a disgrace because it was very rushed. It was very, very put together on the hop. And you can tell that. And then when you look at sequences like Batman's fake smile when Superman comes up, or when you look at Cavill's upper lip, which we've discussed so many times now, how can you release a film in that condition, Kevin? Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mr. Sugihara, not Warner Brothers. You were running the company. That company, those board of directors trusted you, right? And you let them down. You let them down. You let the fans down. You let Henry Cavill down. You let everybody down. And you fired Zack Snyder, who did nothing wrong. Zack Snyder and his team sweated blood to give the fans, all fans, something truly special. And Zack's Justice League is something truly special. I'm not going to tell you how I know that, but I do. It's a special film, right? We all want to see it. We all want a copy of it in our homes. Or, at first, maybe release it in the cinema. I don't know. This film deserves to be released. We can't carry on like this. It's getting tiring. Release the damn movie.